Let's see, I want to make sure that we see who has signed in. And how you doing, gang?
Hi.
How's it going? Hey. So, this is like a broken record for you, I know. Okay. You didn't know you were the license. Okay. Really quick. Does anybody want to take the podium during the open to the public 5 minutes portion of the meeting? You don't. You got anything to say? You sure? Okay. Change your mind, you let me know, okay? Is this a school project? Or do you want to take the podium tonight? You don't? What's your name?
Hayden.
Hayden, how you doing? What class is this?
It's for government.
Where do you go to school?
Minus in Webster.
What year are you?
I'm a senior.
You know C.J. Flaherty, did you know? Nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Well, Deneen, my sales skills stink. I couldn't convince anybody to take the podium. All right. So John and Jenny. Jeffrey's not. Yeah.
Your sister's going to be with the mother.
I don't want to make things confusing. I would have had Jenny sit next to Charlie just to make it like sense on it, but this is fine. Purposely, I had a low, not a lot on the agenda because we knew that Brandon was going to be. So just so we all know, I think this is all low-hanging fruit stuff, but so we can. Everything that ever has 3-0. You bet, my friend. I promised Denise she'd be home with her family by 8:15. She's not want to ride. What do you think? As long as you're right.
Wow.
All right, whenever Mark says we can rock.
You gonna pull the weight on this?
No, I'm not messing with you tonight. All right? Just hope everything is 3-0. You let me know, Mark. Okay. Well, that's not bad. 7:33. Well, welcome everybody to the Thursday, September 19th, Webster Town Board meeting. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Deneen, can you do the roll, please?
Supervisor Flaherty.
Here.
Councilman Cahill.
Here.
Councilman Wynn. Here. Town Attorney Genesi.
Okay, our first agenda item tonight is the open to the floor section where each speaker will be allowed up to 5 minutes to speak on anything they want. We went around the room before the beginning of the meeting. We had no takers. Has anybody changed their mind? Okay. Then the next item up is the minutes to be considered for approval for the September 5th town board meeting. I reviewed them and I make a motion that we accept.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilman Wynn. Aye.
I know somebody pinch hit for somebody this week. Is that you getting? Thank you.
I have reviewed the bills with the financial director, and I believe they are completed. So I make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Councilman Wynn. Aye. Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye. And then I reviewed the prepaid warrants as submitted by Paul Adams, the Director of Finance, make a motion to reapprove those.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Wynn. Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
And I also reviewed the purchase orders as submitted by Paul Adams, the Director of Finance, and make a motion that we approve those.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilman Wynn. Aye.
Zip there. Okay. Well, you are the liaison to this department. You want to do it, Jan?
No.
Okay. Well, I am going to make a motion to set a public hearing for the town of Webster's 2025 preliminary budget for October 17th, 2024. And to have that advertised in the Webster Herald's, I don't know, would that be Wednesday the 9th edition, or is it Wednesday the 2nd of October's edition? No less than 10, no more than 20, or no more than 10. Public hearing on the budget.
I believe it's 10 to 20.
Then we're gonna do it in the October 2nd Webster Herald. And you know what? Just to be safe, and the October 9th Webster.
Good idea.
If you
How
want
about
to,
that?
if you want to hold on a second, I can double check on this particular one.
Shame on me for not having noticed that this resolution didn't have the advertising date.
How about we just publish it according to law? As required by law. At a time, or do you want to still publish it in both?
I don't mind publishing.
Okay.
All right,
That's not fine with that, so I'll second that motion. That's what
Smart. Stumbled on that.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
I'm. Aye.
Councilman Wynn. Aye.
And just for the record, and this is not a shot against the Webster Herald, they have their subscribers, very loyal subscribers, and people will see this. The Webster Today, which goes out to every house in the town of Webster, the October edition hit people's houses, their mailboxes, I think, between October 2nd and 5th. And it's the budget edition, so it really highlights all over it that the public hearing is the 17th, and inviting people to comment, call in, email us about questions they have, but also come to the public hearing. So, little sidebar. Now, the gentleman in the back, I told you we wouldn't make you wait long. Just want to make sure I got the wording right. Yeah. I think we did just vote on the preliminary budget. Yeah. But the next item up, the license agreement for the replacement of the utility shed and drainage easement. I just want to see what I saw. Is it Mike?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mike, if you want to jump up to the podium for a second, because I think this is going to be a walk in the park for you, but I saw the letter before the highway that was fine, but there it is. Yeah. Pat Stevens, our superintendent of highways, wrote a letter to the board saying he's fine. He came out and saw it. So, do any of the board members have any questions about that?
No, I just had a comment that I really appreciate the fact that Pat goes out and meets with our residents and makes these recommendations, because it's obviously great as a wheelhouse.
So you're going to get handed off, Mike, from Pat, and you're about to enter the Charlie Genesi world in a second. We'll get to that once we vote on this. So, getting any comments or questions on this? Well, I make a motion to approve a license agreement for the placement of a utility shed in a drainage easement located at 860 Buttermilk Circle, tax account number 094.06-1-10.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye?
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilman Wynn. Aye.
All right, Charlie. So for those at home, Charlie is now talking to Mike about the process of them getting together and doing the proper filings within the county and all that stuff, so he can do it. do it, building the shed in one of our drainage easements.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So I won't describe as much because I'm sure that you're here, or you're here for the license agreement of the fence in a sanitary sewer easement. There's 3 of these tonight. Wow. Okay, so the next one is, I want to make sure this is Ethan?
Yep.
Okay. Ethan, and you, if you want to take the podium. So this is a resolution to approve a license agreement for the placement of a fence in a sanitary sewer easement. I take it located either in your property at 1436.
Correct.
Deja vu. Any questions? Because I know that Art, I think, wrote a letter in this one, right? Our sewer department. Yeah, Art.
Also, we take the short environmental assessment form, which has been completed. Seems to be in order.
Yeah.
I have any questions?
Okay. Well, then I'm going to make a motion to approve a license agreement for the placement of a fence in a sanitary sewer easement located at 1436 State Road, tax account number 080.04-1-35.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty,
Aye.
Councilman Wynn,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
That's it? Ethan? Charlie? Charlie, you got some new best friends here, right? And Lonnie's doing this because we now are going to finish the trifecta tonight. I don't know, I can't remember us ever having 3 of these on one board meeting agenda.
No.
But in layman terms, you know, these drainage easements, and these sewer easements, there's pipes underneath, and unfortunately, even though it's the homeowner's yard and they own the land, you can't just allow them to put a shed on top of some things that we might have to get in there and do some maintenance on. So it's very important that, you know, we just kind of make sure that they've applied for it. Our sewer department, our highway department, our drainage people have looked at it and said, it should be okay, that it'll be out of the way if they have to dig this and that. I guess that's the best way to explain it. So with that being said, our next one is at 449 McEwen Drive, and this one,
Yeah, I don't have a resolution on this one. I didn't know about it until right now.
Katie,
yes, that's
right? And Katie, she brought a bodyguard, so we better not mess on this
This
one.
is Gina.
What's that?
This is Gina.
Well, can everybody see Gina's face and head above the podium there? So this is about a fence in a sanitary sewer easement located, this is about a fence in a town drainage easement at, I take it, your home 449 McEwen.
Yes, sorry.
And I saw in here, once again, that Pat Stevens, that's what I saw.
Yep.
It's here.
It is in there. So, as you probably heard from what I said to the previous gentleman, you now get handed from Pat to Charlie to paper it all up and get it all set. So, any questions, Jamie or John? Okay. Can I make a motion to approve a license agreement to locate a fence in the town drainage easement at 449 McEwen Drive, tax ID 093.06-1-22?
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilman Wynn.
Aye.
Now, is the fence like a fence that can be painted, and maybe as this one gets older, they'll,
To paint it? I think it'll be ready. We'll definitely have to clean it.
oh, well, no more Tom Finn, Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer
I'm
stuff.
gonna take care of
Aging myself there.
I will send it to you,
All right.
and you and your husband sign for whatever you think. I'll get one, and Doug will get all the information you need.
Okay, so back to your contact.
I will contact,
Okay.
no, I'll contact you by regular.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thank you
See
very
you,
much.
bud.
Have a good day.
All right. Geez, I hear that, John. A little more tonight. The next one, we only have two left. A milestone event. I think it was in June that we had Chris Philo, our Parks and Rec Commissioner, came in. And we had the, I'll call it the unveiling, along with Ventuzo Family Brands. Kayla, their CFO, did a presentation. The proposed design of a 2,400 square foot building that would be a restaurant, bar, pub type of thing. The town, I'll call it, Charlie would be the landlord, and Ventuzo Family Brands would be the private operator. Now, we said back in June, you know, as the process moved along, this is kind of one of those milestone things that we now need to go out, as Councilman Cahill said earlier, this is Wick's law. We need to go and advertise the bid packages. I think there's 4 of them. I want to say it's general contracting, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. And they'll be advertised in the Webster Herald, but as John, you know this better than me because you're in the business, development, construction. It'll also be sent to like where the developers all look for projects to bid on municipally. And basically, it's a sealed bid. I mean, you might get 4 bids, you might get 8 bids, you never know. And then, I think it,
Are the drawings done for this? Just to send this out to bid or we'll send?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Are they 100% done? or
somewhat,
80% done?
well, when you say the drawings, Campus and Passboro have put together, this is the different line items, I think, of estimated cost on those 4 that I just described, general contracting.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know. And I don't want to get too granular, but a lot of concrete, helical pilings that the
Right.
DEC is making us put in, the building shell, the type of roof that you have to have, and it's really got to be supported because it's got a roof top. It's a 2,400 square foot building, but let's not kid ourselves. The design that is put out there has about 1,000 square feet up top that people can sit. So John, as you know,
Right.
the design and what that entails compared to a pitched roof, it's not going to have anything on it except for maybe snow and rain. A little different. So now we got to go and bid it to see, well, what is it come in at? Because we need to know what the low bids are, because that's going to dictate just how much this project's going to cost. And at the end of the day, it's a public-private partnership, and foundational to that is that if we have to go and get a bond to pay $1 million, $2 million to build this building based on the low bids and whatever, that whatever that bond costs, we have to get that money back for the taxpayers from the private restaurateur. Is that a good way to describe it, Charlie?
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
The restaurateur, well, I think I've been pretty consistent on that in articles I've written and any communication I've had with any of restaurateurs and bar owners going back to the expression of interest back in early 2022, when 8 to 10 restaurateurs looked at doing this, and the only one that came in with a formal reply in April of 22 was the guys who owned the Bayside Pub. And Chris Bilo and I, our Parks and Rec Commissioner, met with the owners of the Bayside Pub 5 or 6 times between April of 22 and October of 22. And that was really a big part of our conversation. You can be involved in designing the kind of building you want to operate in, restaurants or bar owner, but be careful what you choose. You gild it with gold, and you make us
go out and pay for it, Wick's law, low bid. Know that if it costs $1 million, here's the bond, this is the interest rates, whatever, that's what you gotta pay. Monthly rent, annual, whatever.
Right.
And what ended up happening in that situation in October of '22, the owners of the Bayside, we came to an impasse, I'll call it, that the estimated cost of what the building they wanted, which was a 2,400 square foot with a pitched roof, not a roof on top, and their features that they wanted was going to cost the shell and whatever $1 million, let's say. They were going to put in, I think it was 600,000 of leasehold improvements. You go in and build the inside.
Right.
And I want to say the bond at that time was going to be costing like $7,000 to $8,000 a month.
Right.
All right. And they said, you know what? We can't make a profit at that. You know, we can only pay $3,000 a month rent. And it was like, yeah, but it's going to cost us $7,000 or $8,000 a month in principal and interest on the bond. Well, we can only afford $3,000 a month. Okay, I respect that you can only afford $3,000 a month. I take it at your face value that that's all you can pay and make this a viable business. You're in a for-profit business. I respect that. But I hope you respect that our job is to make sure that the taxpayers' dollars on this, a municipal built building, public-private partnership. The public part is we built the building. We need the private entity to be paying us in some semblance of rent, licensing, percentage of their proceeds, however you want to do it. Something that gets us where we can say to the taxpayers, we're getting your money back. We are not enriching a private company with taxpayer money. Very consistent about that. That's why that deal fell apart in October of 2022. I respected the fact that they say pay more than that, and they needed to respect the fact that unless you want to truncate down this 2,400 square foot building to 1,600 square foot, which is how big the old Bayside was, you want to redesign this so we can get the price down for the taxpayers to an amount that you as a bar owner, restaurateur will be okay with paying monthly. If we're not going to go down that path, then this deal's dead. And it was. And that was 2 years ago. And we reached back out to the 7 or 8 restaurateurs that had shown interest earlier that year, and we said, hey, we've gone down the path with this group. There's an impasse. Are any of you still interested? And in January, February of '23, a couple of those restaurateurs said, yes, we are. We spent 6, 7 months with them, and by July or August of '23, one of them said, you know what, due diligence, I'm bowing out. And the one that said, I'm still interested is Fantuzzo Family Brands. And when they said they were still interested in July, August of '23, that's when the rubber hit the road, that they started spending money on design. They started spending money, their own money, on an architect designing a building that they wanted in their vision. And when they said it was 2,400 square foot, and they worked a little bit with campus, construction management, and pass-through, we said, well, here's the thing. If you really are serious about this, which you seem to be serious, because you're spending this money with your architect, then we really need to go to the DEC and apply for a pad permit or a square footage of impervious area of 2,400 square foot. And we did that in November of '23. Now, unfortunately, it took about 5 to 6 months for the DEC to come back and approve that. So now we were into March, April of 2024. So once they came back and said 2,400 square feet was okay, we got back in with Fantuzzo Family Brands, sharpened pencils, this and that. And by June of '24, we said, we think we are at a point in this process where it's time to unveil and introduce Fantuzzo Family Brands as the restaurateur who we think we're going to go down the aisle with toward this public-private partnership. Now, since June, since we had that workshop, the last couple of months, as we've sharpened pencils and gotten estimates and bid packages put together, that culminates where we are tonight. Now, if we do this resolution, and we now will go out and advertise those bids, when the bids come back, somewhere around October 25th, I think we estimated the need, is when we will sit in this room It's a public event, and open those sealed bids. And Deneen, it'll be your first one, right? And then we'll get an idea of what is the cost of the plumbing? What is the cost of the HVAC? What is the cost of the general contracting? And what was the other one?
Framing, don't forget the framing.
It's in general contract.
Very, very important.
It's in the general contract.
All right.
Yeah. And then, and I would like to think, because Ventusa Family Brands has been here along the whole way, I really am cautiously optimistic we won't have what happened in October of 2022 with the old owners of Bayside, which is, well, here's what it's going to cost to build that building, now that we got the low bids. And if they come back and say, well, I'm only willing to pay this, and we have a delta there, what are we going to do, Chair? Right? This isn't baseball at that point. It's not 3 strikes and you're out. We went down the path with one reputable restaurateur. The numbers didn't jive. If we go down that path with this restaurateur, knock on wood, I don't think this is going to happen, but if that does end up happening, we're not, I mean, do we need to go back to the third?
No,
We
we don't,
need
but
to,
before you make your motion, I just want to recognize that I believe I read a letter to the editor recently where someone was not really criticizing, but I hadn't heard any updates on the restaurant in a while. So I appreciate the fact that you just gave the history lesson, and now hopefully people will be caught up to date. So, you're very good at that, by the way.
well, it's a sickness. I can remember a lot of stuff from back that I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I say it's easy. There was, yes, and I want to just comment on that, John. There is so many avenues for people interested in Sandbar Park and this restaurant to go to, and they know where to go. Our social media pages,
Right.
what we do on communications, the website. I can say that if we have updated this process all the way along, and it's very easy for somebody to come and say, in a letter to the editor, or come up on the podium and say, you haven't updated anybody else. People can write that, they can say that. The reality is, I know for a fact that we have been updating people on this. And if you go back to the tape in June of that, we said, we'll be back in about 3 months.
Right.
I don't know, I mean, June to September is, I think, 3 months. So now I'm giving a little bit more detail of when we're gonna be back in a month.
Yeah, 10 minutes of detail, that
Yeah.
was good.
Well, now you got an update that not only of where we've been historically on this,
Oh, yeah.
but that we will be opening bids, assuming that we get bids, somewhere in mid-October. And my guess is that based on our board schedules, that somewhere around November 7th board meeting or November 21st board meeting, we will be back in here for either a workshop and or resolutions pertaining to what we got as the bids. Okay? So, maybe I wouldn't have won the bet, John.
No, definitely.
Any other questions or comments on this one?
I think we've exhausted all
Yeah.
the comments.
Well, I make a motion to solicit bids for the Town of Webster Sandbar Park Restaurant Construction Project and to advertise in the Webster Herald September 25th, 2024 edition.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty,
Aye?
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn. Aye.
And I will pinch hit for Deputy Supervisor Patty Cataldi, who is the liaison of the Sewer Department. I make a motion to approve the following items for auction and recycle from the Sewer Department. What do I say?
Just say the list as presented.
The list
Yes.
as presented.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn. Aye.
I don't know, the round table would be almost like a semicircle round table. What, Jenny?
Well, thanks for everyone for being here today, and please come out and support your Webster Library and Webster Museum. There's the view. There's a lot of events and activities going on, so check the website. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Me too.
Denise? This meeting is adjourned. John. Jenny.
I heard all about it.
Okay, so that might give you a little impression of why I got into a lot of detail about this. Okay, so it took 3 times. Then he was kind of happy and saying, I don't agree with that. Because the person, and he's a certified financial planner. I don't know why he doesn't understand. Either he's not busy